So, hey guys, it's PM Mathis, and I am sorry about my voice, but I told myself I was going to jump on today and just to get this thing back rolling, to give some of my thoughts and commentary and hopefully and maybe some reviews and some suggestions. Sorry, I'm just trying to get myself straightened out here, so just don't mind me because things are a little bit thrown off. But um, I don't know. It just seems like, things are just going a little haywire in the world. I mean, I don't know about you, but at 53, because today is my birthday, so thank you for saying happy birthday. Things just seem a little bit thrown off, and so I guess you could read the title of this video, and I just kind of want to give my thoughts on, where I think, um, where I see us going. And sometimes it's just not that I see that things are going well. And it just makes me a little bit unnerved and feeling like I need to say something, but don't really know all the time how to put it into words because it just seems like everybody's so driven by emotion. And so this is what I'm going to say about this, stop rewarding bad behavior. And this is the way it just kind of plays out to me because, being a parent and I have raised a daughter who is a productive member of society and I consider who's doing well. She's out on her own. She's working full time. She handles her own business. She doesn't rely on me for much of anything. We hang out and we have a great relationship. Now, I'm not saying that we don't have our moments where we disagree because we do, but we try to definitely do it in love and respect for one another, because even though I am 24 years older than her and I will always be that, I think as the adult first in the situation, we always have to be mindful that they too now are adults. And I'm speaking basically, of course, to those of us who are parents who have older kids and even with younger kids, because sometimes you do have to apologize all the time. You have to be willing to listen and to open yourself up to be a vessel that they can pour into. You might not always agree with what is being said and what is being done, but here's some, maybe some takeaways that I have for those who are not where I am, because I'm an empty nester now, so I have plenty of time, and I've taken on a kite, excuse me, not a kite, a cat that wants to fight with me 24/7. I don't know why, but that's what we do in here. So I guess you can call me one of those crazy cat ladies, okay? But anyway, but I do think I have a bit of wisdom that I can offer because of the position I sit in, because I can see things in real time. I know what the past looked like. I also know what it should look like moving forward. Now, I can't speak to everybody's situations because I know all our dynamics are different, but there are some basic bottom lines that as it relates to relationships and as it relates to, raising up a child that will be productive, that will have a definitely, because you don't want to ever break a child's will or anybody's will for that matter. But you also have to, give some boundaries, give some guidelines, keep things going down the road correctly. And just because you may feel like a thing should happen, or you're very passionate about this one thing, somebody over here just may not be. But we have to learn how to respect that. We have to learn how to be able to have an open conversation, to not get your feelings hurt and start, cussing people out or just being disrespectful in ways that, nobody wants to talk to you and nobody wants to be around you. Now, here's where I think, things kind of went wrong. This is just my perspective. I feel like when everybody had to get a trophy and everybody had to be on the team, we did our young people a disservice because you didn't necessarily have to work for anything. You just felt like things should be given to you. And I see a lot of that happening today. I'm not saying that we can't blame the parents because, as the adult that will always be, older than your child, because I'm always 24 years older than my daughter, that we've made some mistakes. There were some moments in life where we either parented out of guilt, didn't know how to say no, didn't know how to create those boundaries. So therefore now our young people don't know how to create boundaries. They don't really sometimes, in my estimation, understand how not to get what you want by stepping on somebody else. Because that's not the goal of getting what you want. How you get what you want is having conversations and facilitating your argument, giving a clear directive. But there's never an occasion where you think that what you want um, is the ultimate goal, irregardless to how it may affect somebody else. Now, I'm not saying that we live our lives just trying to make everybody feel good, because that's never going to be, because you're not going to please everybody. But you have the ability to be the grown up in the room, no matter how old you are. No matter how much you want to throw a tantrum, because hey, listen, I want to throw tantrums too, but I feel like at 53, that's not really attractive, and nobody really wants to see that. Now, do I have my moments, and do I rage on the inside? Well, absolutely, because it's a challenge every day sometimes to get up, to be happy, to be motivated, to give others grace, especially when you feel like you're not getting it yourself. But the ultimate goal is about your integrity and how you want to present yourself in the world, because we can't always look to other people and say, well, if they're doing it, why can't I get away with it? Well, that don't really work. It depends on what kind of parents you have, or those around you who are going to corral you in another way. They're going to help you see that no, that don't work well for you, just because it might work well for somebody else. So one of, like I said, the first thing I think happened, that where we kind of got off track, is everybody had to play on the team, and everybody had to get an award. And the second point, sometimes as adults, we focus a lot on ourselves, and those young people that are coming up behind us, we kind of forget that they exist, because we're trying to deal with our own set of childhood traumas, which sometimes become these adult situations. And sometimes we forget that we got a parent even in the midst of all of that. And so I would ask you to, definitely give yourself some grace and mercy, because that's how you learn how to extend it to other people. But in giving yourself some grace and mercy, don't let yourself off the hook, because you know what? You still have a responsibility, because nobody, you know, suggested that you have kids or demanded that you have kids. And if you bring in somebody else into the world, they are watching your example, and you have the responsibility to grow them up to be responsible adults. It is not the world's, project along with you, because we didn't make that decision with you. But anytime that you can give, somebody younger than you, and I mean, even sometimes people that are your same age or, older, whenever you can give advice, always speak the truth in love, always be kind in how you deliver. We can't demand adults to do anything. We can suggest, just like I'm suggesting to you. I mean, you can take what I'm saying, with a grain of salt. You can listen to it. There might be parts that you can keep, others that you don't need. Just throw it away. But you got to be willing to be open to have another, sometimes, thought process inside your head that's not yours. Because my ultimate goal is to encourage and to motivate. My ultimate goal is to, as I'm talking to you, help myself through some things. Because sometimes when you can say something out loud, it becomes the voice in your head. And then you're not always fighting against yourself with the negativity. Sometimes you got to break that up. And sometimes you break that up by, listening to somebody else. And I hope that I can help you along your journey. And the third point, stop allowing others to influence you, in negative ways that's going to affect you and your household. Because ultimately, as we all understand, it starts at home, right? We do the best things that we know to do for those that live with us, and then it will expand out to others. We can't allow the noise of the world to influence us to jump ship, to cause havoc, to be a nuisance in ways that, it's just not necessary. And I a lot of times just don't really understand it. Because rather than being kind and rather being generous and rather sometimes even not saying anything at all because you don't have anything to offer to the situation, we just want to be combative. We just want to argue. We just want to be mean and nasty to folks. And even in those moments when you don't understand why somebody's doing what they're doing, you know what? Here's a simple thing you can do, is kind of just step away from the situation and send up a prayer for them, or send up a prayer for you that you don't say, the thing that you don't need to say today. But in all things, stop being so offended by everything. Stop thinking that everybody has to validate your situation and your lifestyle. Where do we get to that place? We got to that place when we figured that everybody needed to be on the team. When the adults in our lives, maybe focus, more so on their situation and their lives and not on us. And when we get to the point of thinking that, we allow other people to influence what goes on in our households and even in our heads. And even though I told you earlier, sometimes you can break things up by hearing somebody else. Sometimes that can be detrimental. So you've got to make a decision of how it can benefit you when it's needed and when it's necessary, and then when it's not. And you got to be able to shut that stuff down. You got to be discerning enough and wise enough to say to yourself, okay, so how can I use this? And like I said before, if you can't use it, I mean, you don't have to. Just because somebody's speaking something to you, it just might not be for you, or it might not be for you right now. You have to be the one that's discerning enough to know, um, basically, when to fold them and how to hold them. Okay, that probably is not the way that needs to be said, but you get what I mean. um, in order to have more joy and have more peace, you're going to have to learn how you got to learn that everybody's not going to agree with you and everybody don't love you. Everybody truly just don't love you. A lot of times people don't even like you. And it could not have anything to do with you, and it could just truly be them. But it could be you. You sometimes you gotta be self-aware. You gotta do some self-reflection, and you gotta understand, if within you there's peace and so it extends itself out, or if you're constantly in a fight with yourself and then that extends out, because it's nobody's fault, some of the things we go through. A lot of it's self-inflicted wounds. Yes, people do hurt us and disappoint us, but even in how you handle that, it's up to you. So I just wanted to get on here and share it. And like I said, to get this thing moving again, to ask you to subscribe, like, and share if what I said to you is beneficial. And even if it's not for you, maybe, somebody else can use the information, because I am ultimately, here to, because your mind is my mission. Like, my little banner says I am for the underdog. I am for those that need to understand that within yourself first is the relationship and it builds itself out. And I am a woman who trusts God, who believes in who God says I am. And He has asked me to be the hands and feet to help people, stay encouraged and be motivated, because there's so much noise and so much disappointment and so much uncertainty in the world. He has asked me to use my platform for His purpose and for His glory, because I don't really want you to see me. There's really no need for you to see me and just know me like that. But it is important for maybe me to be used in order that you see Him. So, hey guys, this is PM Mathis. I hope that you have a great rest of your night. And I'm going to try to get on here in the evenings, because I'm going to try to play off this PM thing. And so I hope that we can have some conversations, and I hope that my words can be beneficial to you. And, as an empty nester, maybe this would just be my way of not feeling so alone. So, all right, guys. Again, this is PM Mathis, and I want to say have a great rest of your evening. Okay, guys, I'll talk to you later. Bye.